All right, so today I wanted to cover some of the most common red flags that you can see for yourself when you are touring an apartment building or looking at leasing an apartment at a new spot. And just for context, my name is Lucas. I'm an apartment locator here in Dallas, and every single day I help folks relocate to new apartment buildings all over the Dallas area. And with that, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the red flags. So one of the first flags that you can look for when looking at a brand new building, it seems obvious, but you'd be surprised by the amount of people that will go tour somewhere and not do this. When you are reading through the Google reviews, make sure to look at the most recent. Please do not click on the 1-star reviews and then just read all the 1-star reviews, because that could put you into a state of depression. Again, most people are always going to leave a bad review if they have a bad experience, and very rarely do they leave a review when they have a good experience. It's just like when you go to your favorite restaurant, and if they give you an amazing time, you're most likely not going to give them a review. Let's just be real. But if it's a terrible time and if the service was bogus, then you're probably going to leave a 1-star review on the way out. And it's the same way with apartment buildings. Make sure that you go to most recent reviews, and when you are reading through the 1-star reviews, again, all buildings will have them, even the one that I live in, look at what the building is responding and what they're actually saying. And if you are having a ton of people giving 1-star reviews and the leasing team isn't responding, if the building isn't even going out of their way to type some sort of a response to defend themselves or to remediate the issue, that's a red flag. And I would be very, very careful with keeping that building on my short list. Next red flag that you want to look out for, and again, this would seem obvious, but you'd be surprised by the amount of people that miss this, especially when you are at the building for an in-person tour, is if the leasing team or whoever the person is who is giving you the tour, if they can't answer basic questions about the building. You would be surprised by the amount of buildings that I walk into when we talk to these leasing teams, and they don't know how many floors are in the building. When was the building built? Who's the property management company? Like, if you can't answer just the fundamentals, then how can I expect you to understand anything about this lease agreement that I'm about to sign? Most oftentimes, if people can't answer these basic questions, they're probably new. Maybe they haven't been trained up enough, and it's kind of a reflection of the property management team that is training these candidates that are being put into their leasing office to talk with front-forward-facing clients. So make sure if you are touring a building, ask the basic questions to see if they can even answer them. Then another area where you can spot a pretty quick red flag is the leasing agent or the person giving you a tour, do they look presentable? Are they personable or even excited to see you? Are they smiling? Do they have energy? Did the guy or girl who's taking the time to tour you even bother to comb their hair that morning? Do they smell good? Like, do they even appear that they give a flying f*** that you even showed up that day? And if the answer is no to any of those questions, then what do you think your experience at that building is going to be like? There's another area of which you can spot a red flag pretty easily, and that is to simply use your eyeballs when you are doing a tour. For example, I was actually touring another building the other day that I hadn't been to before, and I noticed that the hot tubs were down. So I started scratching my head and talking to the leasing agent about it. How long have these hot tubs been down? What's the repair schedule? Even more importantly, how have you been communicating the repair progress to the residents? Have you been sending emails? Do you do mass text messages? How often are these messages sent out? Can you send me examples of what you have been sending to residents on the repair status for this hot tub? And sure enough, he sat down at his desk and sent me all of the updates on it, because that stuff is super, super important. Again, they could be doing updates once every 3 months, which I think is unacceptable. But if you're getting updates on stuff like this every few weeks, I would expect at a bare minimum once a month on something like a hot tub. That's something that I care about and that I can appreciate, because things do happen, things break all the time. And as a resident, you are owed those updates. And then talking about elevators, like, I get asked about elevators all the time, and I have just a little bit of leniency when it comes to elevators going down with buildings here in Dallas. And the majority of the time, it's because there is only one elevator repair company in the entire Dallas area, which are these guys. So they've kind of monopolized the entire repair schedule for every single building here in the city. And the tallest buildings, i.e. the buildings that have the most elevators, always get prioritized on those repair schedules. So if you live in a mid-rise, maybe there's only 11 floors. The majority of those types of buildings only have 2 elevators. So if one elevator goes out, they're kind of at the the mercy of this company because they are prioritizing other buildings in front of them because those buildings have more people, more elevators, more floors, which kind of makes sense if you think about it. But as long as they're communicating with you via mass text, email, hey, XYZ elevator is down, this is the process, this is going to be the repair schedule, this is when we expect them to be up and running again, at least you can have some peace of mind that people are working on it. And then another spot where you can find a bunch of red flags is to take a close eye at the amenities. Like, does the dog park look terrible and does it smell bad? When you go to the gym, are there plates, dumbbells, towels scattered all over the place? And you wanna know one of my favorite things to do, as weird as this sounds, when I go to a building, is to go to the pool area and look at the outdoor grills. Is there leftover barbecue and food stuck to the griddles? Is there gunk everywhere? A good property management company, a well-managed building, will make sure that those grills are cleaned at least once a week. So if you see that when you go to a property, then you know that you've got a good building that cares about their stuff. And again, I would expect a resident to at least pick up after themselves at a dog park or the gym. But when it comes to things like that at the pool, I'm probably not going to clean the griddles every single time I use them. And that's when the cleaning crews come in that are told by the management company to make sure that they are doing this stuff. Because that will be an indicator of how you are treated when you put in a maintenance request. Let's say your ice maker goes out, and if they don't even care to make sure that the amenities are clean and in proper order, what makes you think that they're going to be able to jump onto your maintenance request rather quickly? And then one of the final areas of which you can spot a pretty recognizable red flag would be the follow through. And this is when you have been discussing verbally what your pricing, unit number, move-in date, and incentives will be prior to signing that sheet of paper. And just the other day, I was helping a client sign a lease into a building that I hadn't worked with a ton in the past, and we had everything agreed verbally. The unit number, the move-in date, the price, the 2-week incentive. They also threw in a $1,000 gift card. And when it got to signing the lease, the client noticed that it was the wrong unit number. The price was incorrect. The move-in date was wrong, which kind of raised a little bit of red flags. And then the leasing office did not want to fix it, and they kind of wanted to brush it under the rug, hoping that my client would sign it without them even knowing. And this is a huge red flag. There are a lot of buildings here in Dallas that are incentivizing residents to get in and will say anything, do anything, type anything in order to get you to sign a sheet of paper and get you through the door, which is why it is super important that you don't want to be doing this on your own, and why it makes a little more sense to use an apartment locator to fight these battles for you, to ensure that you get everything in writing, so that way by the time you do get the lease, it lines up to what you discussed verbally. And that is all that I am going to cover for today. So if you have anything that you would like to add in terms of criteria or areas of which you see red flags when finding apartments here in Dallas or anywhere else, feel free to drop those in the comment. And if you disagree with anything that I said, feel free to roast me in the comments. Put me on blast. Again, I'm always down to learn. Just be friendly. And with that, that is all we are going to have for you today. And we will see you next time. Y'all stay safe.